For nearly 30 years, the neighborhood of Willow Creek felt like the safest, warmest little corner of America, the kind of place where kids rode their bikes until sunset families gathered for 4th of July barbecues and neighbors actually knew each other's names. Back then, the HOA was just a simple volunteer group made up of friendly retirees who only cared about keeping the park clean and helping neighbors shovel snow. But everything changed the day the new leadership took over young, ambitious, corporate-minded people who saw the quiet community not as a home, but as a brand, a product to be polished and controlled. And no one felt the impact of that change more painfully than Robert Hayes, a 62-year-old widower who had lived on Maple Ridge Lane long before anyone even knew what an HOA board was. Robert was the kind of man who waved at everyone, fixed broken mailboxes for free, and shoveled snow off the sidewalks of older neighbors without ever asking for anything in return. After his wife Linda passed away from cancer 6 years earlier, he found peace in taking care of their yard, especially the old magnolia tree she planted. When they first moved in, it became his way to feel close to her, talking to it on quiet mornings as if it still carried her voice in its leaves. But to the new HOA board, especially the president and ambitious, image-focused woman named April Steele, the tree was outdated, messy, and not fitting the modern community guidelines. She didn't care about its history or the couple it belonged to. She only cared about uniform shapes, clean symmetry, and a neighborhood that looked expensive enough to raise property value. One cold autumn morning, Robert woke up to find a bright yellow violation notice taped to his front door. Tree non-compliant. Must be removed within 14 days. His heart sank. That tree wasn't just a plant. It was the last piece of his wife. He went to the HOA office with the letter in hand, hoping to talk calmly, maybe explain the emotional value. But as he stood in front of April, who sat behind a sleek glass desk surrounded by modern decor that didn't even match the soul of the old community, she didn't even look up from her tablet. The tree disrupts the uniform landscaping pattern, she said coldly. It must be removed. My wife planted that tree, Robert replied softly. It's older than the HOA itself. April finally looked at him, but there was no sympathy in her eyes, only impatience. Rules are rules, she said. If we make an exception for you, we have to make exceptions for everyone. The conversation ended with her insisting he comply, but Robert couldn't bring himself to cut the tree. It felt like cutting out the last memory of the woman he loved, so he left it standing and waited. 2 weeks passed. On the 15th day, at exactly 6:30 in the morning, Robert was awakened by the rumble of heavy engines outside. He rushed to the window, and what he saw made his chest tighten. The HOA had sent a private tree-cutting crew, arriving in shiny branded trucks with polished equipment, accompanied by HOA officials wearing matching jackets and carrying tablets, as if they were soldiers on a mission. They even brought a drone, hovering above his property as if they were documenting an act of war. No, please, Robert whispered as he rushed outside in his slippers, the cold wind hurting his lungs. Stop, please stop. But the men had their orders, and standing behind them, arms crossed, sunglasses on even though the sun was barely up, was April. You had 14 days, she said. You left us no choice. You can't do this, Robert pleaded. That tree is a violation. She interrupted. Remove it. The saw roared to life, and as the blade bit into the trunk, Robert felt something inside him break. Neighbors began stepping outside with shocked expressions. Some recorded on their phones. Others simply stared in disbelief. Most of them had known Linda. They remembered her warm smile, the cookies she baked for the entire block every Christmas, the way she used to sit under that magnolia tree during spring. Watching that tree fall felt like watching her memory being erased. When the final crack echoed through the street and the magnolia collapsed, Robert sank onto his lawn, tears streaming down his face, whispering, "I'm sorry, Linda. I tried." But the HOA wasn't done crossing the line. It became a family again.